grades with the under-14s team. I'm the current coach of the 14s team. We've got around about 15 girls. All those girls come from all differing codes. We've got girls from rugby union, rugby league, AFL, soccer, and we've got a state representative from hockey. So we're pretty well represented in that by different sports. And the same with the 17s. There's a number of girls in the 17s that represent the state in a number of different codes. Rugby union and seven-a-side, rugby league. And we've got some girls from that team that are travelling away this weekend with the WA multicultural AFL under-16 girls team. With the women's side, we've got a lot of women from a lot of different sports as well. And the skill levels stretch from, one of the players has just come back from the Rugby Union Women's World Cup, down to some of the mums that come down there every weekend to support their children.
So all grades 13 on 13, or are some of them modified?
Yeah, well, the under-14s is modified to 9-a-side.
Yep.
They've also got a modified size field. Just because they're new to the game, and a lot of the girls have never played before, so it's not really worth putting them out there on a full-size field, if they're not used to it.
So you talk about you're getting a lot of girls and a lot of women from a lot of different backgrounds from all over the place. I know they ran a similar comp, a pre-season comp, and Ellenbrook weren't able to field a team. So tell us about the work that's gone into actually recruiting these girls and women to come and have a go this time around.
Yeah, well, the recruiting's changed a lot from the beginning of the year, because obviously we've got to compete with other sports. The pre-season for some of those sports, and also the competition season for some of those sports, like netball and like touch footy, is on during the summer. So getting those girls to commit. Also, we've waited till the end of the rugby union season. So a lot of the women that'll be playing this weekend have finished the rugby union season. They've had a little bit of a break, and they're continuing on with rugby league.
Yep. So with the NRLWA supporting this, how widespread is this competition running? Is it far down south as Coburn, or are we talking Bunbury, Bustleton, Geraldton, sort of regional areas that are running in this comp, or is it just basically metro?
Oh, at the moment it's quite metro. I think the furthest north team is the Alkimos Tigers, stretching as far down south as the Mandurah Storm. We will get other players that have come up that will travel up from places like Bunbury and maybe Northam that'll come into play.
Okay, so it's...
But it's getting there, this being the first time it's run, and it's only an 8-week competition, so, getting it out there, getting girls and women involved, is really important.
So is there plans next year that you know of to run it alongside the sort of the normal competition for 2018?
Yeah, so far we know that there are plans to run it alongside the normal competition. The women will run alongside the seniors, with the Ellenbrook Rabbitohs men's extending from just the third grade squad this year to a reserve grade and a third grade, plus a women's team and possibly an under-18s girls team as well.
Okay. And how many weeks is the comp? And the first game this weekend, where is that going to be?
Yeah, well, the competition runs for 8 weeks.
Yep.
The first game is this weekend, so all the teams will travel to Ellenbrook.
So it's a home game.
It's a home game. Yep. We've also got another home game next week as well. We've got the first two, and there's potential for us even to have a final series game or the actual grand finals here in Ellenbrook.
So who do we play this week?
This week, we've got a number of different teams playing this week. I think the under-14s play against Willagee, and I'm not too sure about the
other women's is against Willagee as well. I don't know about the 17s.
Yeah.
So is it like a regional? I know with some of these competitions, everyone will go to the same ground, and they play at that ground. Everyone plays at that home ground. Like every game is at that ground.
No, this week it's all the teams will travel to Ellenbrook and they'll all play here. Like I said before, we've got another game next week. Then we start travelling. We'll travel down to Larkhill Reserve, down to Rockingham at stages during the year. We'll also go to North Beach, South Perth, mainly the bigger clubs that have...
I was just thinking it was like a crossover with the Masters competition. Is every team across all divisions will all play at the one ground. They'll have multiple games going, and then the next round will be at someone else's ground, and everyone will go there. So
that's
basically consolidate costs. So and more income.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but was it the girls 14 NRL tag team that was touched rugby? That was the two-time
girls league tag from the Rabbitohs,
the league tag. Yeah, so they're so a bit of expectation on the girls to two-time flag winners for the touch. How do you reckon they're going to go with the modified comp?
It's going to be a little different because due to age groups, the team's going to be split, with half going into the under-17s and the other half staying in the 14s. It's going to be pretty interesting. You notice the difference in skill level with the girls that have been playing league tag to the girls that have just started playing. And it's pretty interesting teaching girls to play rugby league for the first time, going right down to the basics of tackling, passing, just making sure that they're all squared away, and most of all that they're safe. And we want to boost their confidence. We want to show that you can get athletes from other sports into rugby league, and within a relatively short turnaround, get them at a standard where they're confident to play. They're playing safe, and they'll want to come back next year.
So we've got 7 girls from WA that are going to be away next week. Does that impact your squad at all?
Yeah, it will impact the squad. It won't impact my squad, but it will impact mainly the 17s. Yep. The 17s, because we've got all those girls travelling away for different sports. We've got 3.
The Cass. Over in Sydney.
Yeah, it won't affect too much this week. Next week might be a bit of an issue because we've got girls returning from Byron Bay from the under-16s multicultural and Indigenous AFL tournament. And then we've got Drea Turner, who will be travelling away with the combined affiliated states women's team. So, she's the captain of the 17s. State player in the women's, and obviously a representative player now, so she'll be a big loss, and hopefully the girls coming back from AFL will be able to pick up the slack while they're out.
Do you know if Western Australia's own Jillaroo Madison Bennett's come back to WA to participate in this tournament at all?
Yeah, well, Madison obviously making the Australian Jillaroos from WA as a relative newcomer to the sport, is pretty impressive. It's been a pretty quick rise to fame for Madison, and her being present for the tournament and obviously showing that there are pathways for girls playing rugby league and promoting those pathways is pretty important, for the girls and the women playing the game moving forward.
Yeah, so Maddie's story, is that something that the girls know, or something that you sort of make an effort to make them aware of, or?
Some of the girls here know her and know her pretty well. There's women that travelled to that tournament and we're part of that team. And then you've got Drea, who's going away with the Cass team. She was obviously heavy involved. My wife went down as the sports trainer for the WA women's team, and it's actually really impressive, and it's something for the girls and the younger women out there to strive for.
Just listening to what you've been saying there, boys, I'm counting up to about 10 or 12 girls from around, or girls and women from the area that are on a representative team. That's got to be, that's a fairly impressive batting average, I would have thought, from such a small area to draw from. So that's is this being recognised anywhere else? Are we?
A lot of the girls and the women are multi-talented. They play different sports, and they play at like representative or state level for most of those. So they're all pretty talented. A lot of the mums even that are playing have played representative level both here and in New Zealand. So, you know,
Are you claiming this as your own?
no.
Is it a Ellenbrook Rabbitohs sort of career path or training path that these people have come through? Is there anything we're doing differently? Because that's from a strike rate point of view, that's phenomenal. So
yeah, well, there's obviously development, a lot of effort put in by parents and the club. Also, you know, getting exposure.
NRL WA as well.
Yeah, NRL WA. You know, they have the education guys always out here, the development officers. They come out to Ellenbrook Secondary School pretty regular. Just probably 2 weeks ago, they had a girls' tournament for the years 9s, which, you know, most of the girls that will be playing this weekend are played in that team for Ellenbrook Secondary School. So that's secondary college. So that's the first time a tournament like that's been run. And you know, from what I saw, is, you know, there's pretty big numbers considering it's a fledgling sport, and a lot of schools you wouldn't usually think would be involved in rugby league were involved. With the boys as well, it's the same thing with the boys. Ellenbrook Secondary College do really well in the year group stuff as well. So, you know,
we've mentioned it on the show before. Just down at Woodlake Oval there, that's been phenomenal. I can't get over how well packed that oval is when you guys have got your games on there on the weekends. That's just that blew me away. Just the number of people that are down there. So it's got to be a credit to the organisation to from where it started to where it's gotten to in such a short period of time.
Yeah, it's been a pretty wild ride from the club growing as much as it has, now extending it even further into seniors from one team to potentially 3 or maybe even 4 teams next year is a massive effort from the committee, from all the volunteers, you know, with our sports trainers, with our water runners. A lot of family involvement, and you know, because it's a family club. You know, a lot of the dads, a lot of the senior players get down there, you know, but just before 7 on a Sunday morning to go down there and set up the grounds. They'll be down there again this weekend, you know, setting up the ground, manning barbecues, you know, doing shifts in the canteen.
Oh, good on them. And if there's any girls or women that want to get involved and aren't yet, when's training, or how do they find out and get involved?
Yeah, well, Ellenbrook Rabbitohs Rugby League Club Facebook page is always a good first point of call. We train the girls for the under 14s. We start training at 5:30 and finish around about 7. Then the women's usually start at 6 and 6:30, women and 17s. They usually train for around about 2 hours.
What days is that?
Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Which oval?
At Charlotte's Vineyard.
Charlotte's Vineyard.
Yeah. Okay. So 2018 for the Ellenbrook Rabbitohs. You know, you mentioned that they're moving into a couple of senior teams.
Yep.
You yourself, you moving up to reserve grade, mate, or you?
Yeah, well, you know, I had a fairly good season this year. The oldest player in the team, managing to rack up a fair amount of minutes. I'm really keen to go around again next year. You know, I had the opportunity to play with my oldest son this year in a pre-season match, and with my other son returning from North Beach 18s to come back to play reserve grade next year. You know, the opportunity to play with your 2 oldest sons, you know, is always something.
So North Beach 18, so premiership winner.
Yeah, so he's a premiership winner over there, only because we didn't have a team there, and hopefully him coming back, you know, we had 4 other players from Rabbitohs that played 18s for Joondalup that were in the grand final as well. You know, hopefully Jalen and a few of the other boys from Joondalup coming back, you know, and you know,
basis of a strong team to build on.
Yeah, and recruitment's been really good as well. Obviously, we did fairly well considering we're a new club. You know, getting knocked out in the semi-final is a pretty good recruiting tool. So, yeah, hopefully we get a lot more interest. You know, get a few guys from AFL. You know,
that's it.
Well, from a club room point of view, what have you guys got established? Like playing your home games and everything else like that. What's your
Find
Looking
a
to-
licence.
Pardon?
Yeah,
Yeah. What are your facilities like?
yeah, the facilities are quite good, but moving forward, they're probably not going to